Right then guys, it's PSL here, and I'm here for the second episode of my Classic Cars Sprint Championship on F1 2017. Now last time out we were at Silverstone, a very exciting race. Ferrari dominated. Look at the championship standings. Sure, only the top 6 in each race scored points, but look, every single car that scored points was a Ferrari. Mostly the F2004s, in fact all 4 of the F2004s scored points. Plus myself in an F2002 and then an F2007 scored the final points. But look at that, we've got some truly great cars. We've got the 2010 Red Bull, the 2006 Renault, lots of cars which still haven't scored points. Which brings me on to the one to watch, because of course the second race, we're at the Circuit de Catalunya. More of a all-rounder circuit than we saw at Silverstone. Silverstone was a very high-power circuit, but Circuit de Catalunya, especially Sector 3, which you're heading into, high downforce. The Red Bull could shine here, because the Red Bull, sure, lacking on power, but it has got more downforce than any other car here. So we're looking at the field, and, well, of course, the field, it is a reverse of the current championship standings. So all of the F2004s, which were so dominant at Silverstone, will be starting at the back. I myself will be starting in, oh god, 17th place, I think, having finished 4th at the previous race. So we're going to see the Red Bulls towards the front, the 2008 McLarens, 2007 Ferraris. All of the cars which finished towards the back at Silverstone will be at the front here. So here's the starting grid. We've got an 06 Renault at the front and an 08 McLaren, another 06 Renault. Lots of the Renaults at the front. And then we've got, well, the Red Bulls are towards the front, 8th and 9th. We've got 2 of the 2010 Red Bulls. They'll be the ones to watch out for, because the 2010 Red Bull is arguably the second quickest car here. Only behind the F2004, but at Silverstone, well, Silverstone you needed the V10 power, but at the Circuit de Catalunya, it is more of an all-rounder circuit, so that Red Bull could shine, especially as, well look, I'm in an F2002 V10 power, I'm starting in 17th, the Red Bulls are way further up the field, and the lights are out for the second race in this Classic Car Sprint Championship, and already I've made up a place, and there's, well, lots of cars going slowly here. We've got V10s and V8s, all different power outputs from different years, different eras of Formula 1 cars, already up into 13th place, but they're going 3 wide around the first couple of corners. Got an 08 McLaren off to my right hand side, and it's just so difficult to find a space to get past, because there's just so many different cars all side by side. Well, actually the field seems to have thinned out a bit. Actually, we're going to try and go down the inside of the F2007, which I believe we've done that, so that's another position we've made up. Let's not forget, whoa, in fact, actually, I think that F2007, a fellow Ferrari, I think he went to the side of me there. He's re-overtaken me. We're going to have to try and get back past him, as we've done pretty much half a lap already. I've been able to get back past him, and I'm up into 10th place. I started in 17th, and already I'm in 10th. Certainly the V10 helped there, but wow, we've got another Renault to get past. Lots of Renault powered cars to get past. I've been able to get past the 2006 Renault there, so that means I'm up into 9th place. Still not a points place. It would be under the current point system, but not under the classic point system which this championship uses. So here we are on board with this F2007. So there's me off to the right hand side. I've got ahead and then I got too much on the brake, then I let off the brake a bit, so I'm ahead at this point, but then the F2007 did steer into me a bit. He did. I mean, it wasn't malicious, but he knew I was there, and he still turned into me. But then it doesn't matter because, well, I mean, it was short-lived, wasn't it? Because I was able to breeze past. And it's tragic that the fact that this car's 5 years newer, yet it's slower. But of course, that's just how the regulations of Formula 1 change. So he's down into 11th place. And, yeah, honestly, it's been quite an exciting start. So we're going to have a look at the pass I made on the Renault now. So this was just heading into Sector 3 down the second DRS straight, but of course no DRS. None of these cars were around when DRS was a rule in Formula 1. Even the 2010 Red Bull was around just before DRS was implemented. So on board with the Renault, it's got the V8 Renault engine, and yeah, the first of the V8 powered cars, and it just cannot compete. Even down that relatively short run, it's been passed by, well, one Ferrari, and there's another fellow V10 powered Ferrari right to the left hand side of him. Right to the left hand side. Great English there, great choice of wording, but it looks like, well, I think he's actually holding his own. A good exit, but he's still got that Ferrari there that he is not giving up. However, it is an all-rounder circuit, but look at that. That is the difference in power output. And that 2006 Renault, nowhere near that Ferrari. And bearing in mind, he exited the turn in front. So the leader, which was another 2006 Renault, horrendous start, absolutely horrendous. Way before the first corner, he's lost 4 places. That was just a shocking start. It was a simple driver mistake, that's all it was. This car's got, oh, I believe this is, actually I'm not sure if this is from the launch control era. Oh, it's certainly from around that time, but he's got traction control, so there's no excuse on that front. It was just a horrendous start, so we got the 2008 McLaren up in the lead. There's another Renault though, who started lower down, but he's now in second place. Well, actually no, because there's a 07 Ferrari which has been able to go around the outside. But look at that, we've got lots of the slow cars now towards the front. This is exactly what the reverse championship starting grids was going to implement. But just listen to the tone of this engine. No revs at the start there. So that was another Renault. That was actually a different one. He was starting in 3rd place, but much like the Renault which is directly in front of him, he starts on pole position. That's 2 Renaults who started directly behind each other, 1st and 3rd, who both got horrendous starts for the same reason. There was just no revs, no throttle inputs. It almost went into anti-stall. And here we go. So we've got a 2007 Ferrari who had to get past, instantly moved to the right to get past 2 slow-moving Renaults. So, well, he's quids in at the moment because he's been able to pass 2 people way before the first corner. And in fact, side by side with that Renault, which started in 2nd place, I believe. It started on the right-hand side of the grid, but either way, actually no, I think it started in 4th, because that McLaren was very lucky. Anyway, the point is we've got the 08 McLaren leading and the 07 Ferrari, so we've got a Ferrari-McLaren battle, much like the good old days, a decade ago, is come back, and that's at the front, but this is for the final couple of points places. So we've got the 2010 Red Bull behind the 2006 Renault. Can't get past. It's got the slipstream. Here's the thing though, is they're both Renault powered, they're both V8 Renault powered, and in actuality the engines those 2 cars have would be very similar, because let's not forget at the start of 2008 there was a freeze on engine development. So actually the engine in that 2006 Renault will be very similar to how it was in that 2010 Red Bull. No wonder the Red Bull can't get by, because it's got more downforce, more drag, but not that much more power. So yeah, that Renault's just a bit of a stopgap at the moment. And here's another issue. That Ferrari, that's the closest he's gotten to the McLaren so far. This is the battle for the lead. When I say battle, the procession involving the leader and 2nd place man, effectively. But yeah, this is exactly what it was. Silverstone, tons of overtaking. The V10 powered cars breezing past the V8s. And here we're trying to... Here's the thing, is we're getting V8s trying to get past fellow V8s, and it's not working. It really isn't. Here's me in the V10 powered Ferrari, been able to breeze past one of the Red Bulls, but there's 3 Red Bulls stuck up behind the Renault. And in fact, a mistake there was not able to solidify the overtake there at all. And I've been passed by, well, not only a Renault, but also one of my many teammates, one of the F2002 drivers. So here's what happened from his perspective. He was in 10th place, just behind me. Of course, he's got the V10 power, was catching up to the Red Bulls, wasn't quite close enough, but then suddenly I make a mistake. I'm not quite sure what happened there. I think I just got out onto, wide on the track, and I think there was just no grip there. There was no rubber laid down, and that was it. Lost grip, lost speed, and lost the position ultimately. So I'm now behind Well, this is all I need. I'm struggling to get past the V10 powered, no, the V8 powered cars, never mind the V10. But here's the thing is, we've got another F2002 now. The F2002, its strengths lie in the straights. Supreme power. However, we both share the same weaknesses. I was able to get past quite easily in a corner, which I cannot do with those Red Bulls. Because look, they've extended their gap during that middle stint, because, well, during the first to second sector, because it's a high downforce sector, and they just pull away. Here's the thing, in the infield section, they pull away because they've got the downforce around this corner, this long right-hander, they've got the downforce, which I just don't have. Thankfully, I've got the power to be able to keep it in there, but it's so incredibly difficult to get past these Red Bulls. Never mind the Renault that's ahead as well. The Red Bulls can't get past the Renault because they don't have the power, and I can't get past any of them because I just don't have the downforce in the infield section to be able to stick with them. So, well, look, I'm right behind them, but then we're going to build up the speed, and we've got this right-hander. You need to keep your foot in it, but I just can't with this car. Understeers out wide. Partly a setup issue, because this car, very fine. The ballast, here's the thing with this car. If you have the ballast on 6, the rear end is loose. If you have the ballast on 5, it understeers like hell. So, this F2002, a bit of a pain to set up. So I just had the ballast on 6 and then a lot of front brake bias to try and equalise it out, which is why you've noticed I will have locked up the front wheels quite a lot, because you have to kind of compensate for either the oversensitive rear end or the undersensitive front end. It's a nightmare, this car. Either way, I've got past one of the Red Bulls. That's still not a points position. Sure, if this was 2003 to 2009, we would be in the top 8, but just using, at the end of that DRS straight, the power was there, but then look, we're heading into this, incredibly slow speed third sector, and I just do not have the downforce. But look, they're all going to get jammed up behind the Renault, but the speed they can just carry off of that. I may have traction control, but, they have got much more downforce. The aero development between 2002 to 2010, there was a lot of it going on. And I've been able to breeze past one of the Red Bulls, but we're on the final lap. I'm still not on points place. There's another Red Bull I've got to get past. That Red Bull, 5 laps, has not, well, 4 completed laps, has not been able to get past the Renault at all. So that Renault, the slowest car in the field, and no one can overtake it. Because I can't get past the Red Bulls. They just have so much downforce. But yet the Renault cannot be overtaken by the Red Bull because they've just got the same straight line speed performance. They've seriously got a very similar engine. And there you go. So this is the situation. They've got loads of Ferraris. There's a sea of red in the background. They've also similarly struggled to get past some of the other cars here. And yeah, here's the dilemma. On the final lap, I just need to get past one Red Bull to score a point. If I can get past the Renault as well, that is 2 championship points. Going to go later on the brakes, inside line. We need a good run out of the corner, and I've just about been able to do that. We can use the V10 power for this relatively short run to the next corner. And I got past the Renault there, but you may have noticed I was off the track, so I decided to give the place back to the Renault. But I'm up in a points place. Just finally, now that I've been able to get past the Red Bulls, overtakes that easy because the Red Bulls got a lot of downforce. The Renault's got a lot, but not quite as much. The Red Bull is downforce central. Once you get past the Red Bulls, it's fairly easy to get past everyone else. But, well, an exciting, a fairly action-packed battle for the final couple of points places. The battle for the lead was dull, as the 2008 McLaren has dominated completely, as a 2007 Ferrari in second, never got close. An 06 Renault in third, and I finished in 5th place, just about beat the V8 Renault powered cars. But there you go, certainly a very different story from what we saw in Silverstone, probably because the starting grid was completely different from what we saw in Silverstone. We've got the 2008 McLaren, which is one of the slowest cars in the field, and he still won the Grand Prix. Got an 06 Renault in third, yet there was another 06 Renault, which still scored a point, by the way. That Renault, which I just passed in the final lap, still scored a point. He still beats the Red Bulls. The Red Bull, it may be the second quickest car here, but if you don't have a power advantage, it is very difficult to overtake. And that was ultimately the story. The Red Bulls were quick, but not quick in the right places. So it meant it was very difficult to overtake them, and very difficult to overtake anything whilst driving it. But yeah, as I said, a very different story from Silverstone where, well, at Silverstone the V10 powered Ferraris dominated, completely dominated. And if you look at the championship standings, well, it's a mix of V8 powered, V10 powered cars, and yeah, that is ultimately everything. So I hope you guys did enjoy this episode. If you did, please leave a like, comment down below, and I'll see you guys for the next race in this championship, which is at yet another completely different circuit. We had Silverstone, a very engine reliant, power heavy circuit. Then we were at the Circuit de Catalunya, which is a balance, a mix between the two. And next time we're at the Hungaroring, which is very much a high downforce circuit. Should play to the Red Bull's advantages, but then again, it was the same case here and the Red Bulls still haven't scored any points. It's ridiculous. Red Bull, they've got the second quickest card, yet they still haven't scored any points. But anyway, I'm sure they'll score some points at some point because, of course, the reverse championship starting grids will be enforced in the next race, and they're going to be, I think, starting in a point scoring position. Well, we'll have to see what happens in the next episode. So, yes, as I already said, I'll see you guys then.